Have you ever felt like there's a part of you that's completely out of control? Maybe it's the part that overthinks everything, the one that keeps you up at night replaying conversations, or the one that sabotages your progress just when things are going well. What if I told you that part of you isn't actually bad? That, in fact, there are no bad parts inside of you, just wounded, protective, and misunderstood aspects of your mind, all trying to help you in their own way? Sounds radical, right? But that's exactly what Richard C. Schwartz argues in his groundbreaking book, No Bad Parts. This book isn't just another self-help guide. It's a complete shift in how we understand our minds, our emotions, and ultimately ourselves. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this book has been life-changing for so many people. You'll learn about the internal family systems IFS model, why your inner critic isn't actually your enemy, and how you can start healing yourself without pushing any part of you away. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll never look at your inner struggles the same way again. So, let's get into it. Richard C. Schwartz is a therapist who developed the internal family systems IFS model in the 1980s. While working with clients struggling with eating disorders, he noticed something fascinating. Many of them spoke about their minds as if they were made up of different people. At first, he thought this was just a metaphor. But the more he listened, the more he realized people weren't just imagining these parts. They were actually experiencing them. There was the part that binged on food, the part that criticized them afterward, the part that tried to numb the pain with distractions, and the part that felt completely ashamed. Instead of treating these different parts as something to suppress or control, Schwartz started doing something radical. He listened to them, and what he found changed everything. So, what exactly is the internal family systems model? The idea behind IFS is simple but powerful. Your mind isn't just one unified self. Instead, it's made up of different parts, each with its own thoughts, feelings, and motivations. And at the center of it all, there's something called the self. Schwartz describes the self as your true essence, the calm, confident, compassionate core of who you are. The problem is, most of us have lost connection with it because our parts have taken over. IFS breaks these parts down into three main types: exiles. These are the wounded parts of you, carrying pain from past experiences. Maybe it's the part of you that still feels like a rejected child, or the part that never got over a painful breakup. Exiles hold deep emotional burdens, and they don't just go away because we ignore them. Managers. These parts try to keep everything in control. Your inner critic? That's a manager. The perfectionist? Also a manager. They work hard to prevent pain, but they often do it in harsh, unhelpful ways. Firefighters. When pain gets overwhelming, firefighters step in to numb it. This is where compulsive behaviors come in: overeating, drinking, scrolling endlessly on social media. Firefighters aren't trying to ruin your life. They're just desperately trying to put out emotional fires. Sounds familiar, right? Let's look at an example. Picture this. You mess up at work. Immediately, your inner critic jumps in. You're so stupid. How could you let this happen? You always screw things up. Most of us would try to silence that voice. We tell ourselves to be positive, to move on. But here's where IFS is different. Instead of pushing the inner critic away, IFS says, talk to it. Ask it. What are you trying to protect me from? When did you first take on this job? What do you need from me? And when you listen, really listen, you might discover something surprising. Maybe your inner critic first appeared when you were a kid, trying to protect you from disappointing your parents. Maybe it believes that if it criticizes you first, no one else can hurt you. It's not your enemy. It's a part of you that's just scared. And when you approach it with curiosity and compassion, that's when healing begins. But what about those really destructive parts, the ones that lead to addiction, self-sabotage, or deep shame? One of the most powerful stories in No Bad Parts is about a woman named Laura. She struggled with intense self-loathing and felt like there was a part of her that was completely unlovable. Through IFS, she met this part of herself. It was a terrified, lonely little girl who had been holding on to pain since childhood. And instead of trying to get rid of it, she did something radical. She comforted it. She listened to it. She let herself take the lead. And as she did, something incredible happened. The part started to relax. It no longer needed to scream for attention. It felt safe for the first time in years. That's the magic of IFS. Now, let's talk about how you can apply this to your own life. The next time you feel overwhelmed, try this. Pause and notice. Instead of reacting, take a moment. What's happening inside you? Identify the part. Are you feeling anxious, angry, self-critical? Name the part that's speaking. Get curious instead of pushing it away. Ask, what do you need? Find the self, breathe, ground yourself, and approach your parts with compassion. You don't have to fix them. Just listen. And that small shift, it can change everything. No Bad Parts is more than just a book. It's an invitation to stop fighting yourself and start healing. And the best part? You already have everything you need inside you. Your parts aren't broken. They're just waiting to be understood. So, if this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments which part of you needs the most compassion right now. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because trust me, there are no bad parts, only parts that need love. See you in the next video.